Okay, so let us just playtest our Hydra deck. Just go fishing, see how well does the changes that I made to my Hydra deck feels like. But the problem is, I just opened some Age of Eternity cards, and I believe some cards can go well in this deck. So right after this, I probably will have to do another round of searching for new cards, see whether does they fit, and then I have to do another round of I need to upgrade them again. You know, it's a never-ending cycle. When can we stop? Right. Hydra decks, even though it's Hydra, it requires a lot of mana. I'm running 35 lands, and the color is Sautai, I believe. I could be very wrong, but it's the color for this deck is mainly Simic with a splash of black. In it. Right, so there's enough shuffling. So let us see whether can our deck be consistent from our experience in go fishing. So right off the bat, we have only 2 lands. We don't have ways to ram or get new things, so we have to mulligan. Alright, so let us mulligan, use our free mulligan to see how this is. While we do show, we can look at our setup. I do plan on using this setup to try spell table. Yeah, but we see about that. I haven't tried spell table before. Alright, because mainly I play Magic the Gathering with my friends, either at my house or we go down to our LGS and play some commanders. But we used to go down every Friday, but I have responsibilities, so I cannot go down on every Friday. So right now my plan is twice every month, also on a Friday. Okay, this hand is a bit funky, but it has the potential. I do not have black, but I can turn 2 for this. But I have this weird land over here. I guess we can keep. It's a risky hand to keep. Alright, but I guess this will showcase how funky this deck is. We play this really weird lands, charge storage counter land. Right, it's not really a good land, but it's unique. Right, so turn 1, draw. Oh, we have this very nice, interesting card. Alright, but first, tap land. Alright, it comes in tap. So turn 2, until I keep draw. Alright, we got our fork. Alright, turn 2, second land. And then we're going to put a storage counter on it. Right, that I keep draw. Alright, we can proliferate. We can go for this. So that way we can tap this and this next turn to have the drumming bird. And then we can also do this. And then we can proliferate. So it's a very weird deck, alright. We are down in tempo. Definitely down in tempo. But once this start proliferating and going up, we can get a lot more, you know. We can tap this land, remove how many X counter on it to get that many mana. So it can potentially gross our hand, but at the low stage, at the starting stage, it's a really bad land to keep, but it's unique, you know. Alright, so we use 1. Right, we get our guy out. Right, so that is actually turn 3. Alright, we miss our land drop. Right, turn 4, until I keep draw. Yes, we have another land. So potentially we can do more things with this. We can even use this to proliferate if we want to. But we tap 2. That way we can do this. And then we can technically attack if we want. But we're going to tap this for storage. Alright, move on. Now we're at turn 4. Okay, alright, we got over this. So we can technically focus on this proliferating. So we can imagine we were to cast this. So this enchants creature, and then when it's attacked, it puts a +1 on it. And then once you have 3 counters, we sack this, and then we can look for 2 basic lands. So it's a very interesting ramp spell. So imagine we go this, and then we go to attack. So attack triggers, we put a +1/+1 on it. And then let's say because it's flying, we just presume that it deals combat damage. So now it proliferate. So proliferate for 2. Alright, and then down here we also proliferate this. And then we do not have Swarm. Well, technically we have this guy. So in a way we can straight up cast this. But we are going to save this for later. Right, so until I keep draw. So now we are on our turn 6 or 5 or 6. Draw. Right, we miss our land drop, but it's no biggie. So we move to combat. So imagine we do combat again, and it hits 3. And once it hits 3, this will triggers to sacrifice it. So we sacrifice, and then now we can look for 2 lands. Enters tap. So we can imagine we get a forest, and then we get a swarm. We need a swarm, right? So we have more redundancy. That would be good. Let's see. Swarm. Where is swarm? Yeah, swarm. Alright, just pretend we shuffle, blah blah blah. Alright, and then it deals combat damage, it proliferate. So now we're at 4. This is at 3. But if you want, we can technically tap this just now. Anyway, so with enough mana, we can actually bring in our commander. So 1 for black, 2, and 3, I guess. We can continue to save this, bring in our commander. And then instead we tap this for additional, right? And then next turn, alright, we just sort this out. Alright, proliferate, draw. We have wave goodbye. Okay, so now we have something interesting. We can start saving mana for a counter spell if necessary, and then we can hit more things with it, cast X spells, or even flash in this. So maybe perhaps we just imagine a scenario where we just going to hit this and then cast something to do something about it, and then we're just going to tap 3 to counter this spell, and then we proliferate. So this is a 5, that's 5, and then we can use those mana, and then perhaps we cast for X equals to 2, 4, so that's 6 mana. 6 mana, 6, 7, 8 for X equals to 6, and then we have this guy, and then technically we also have a Hydra with 6 counters on it, right? And then this has the ability that I can remove a counter from this to prevent combat damage to another creature. So I can potentially say, oh, you have a big flyer, I'm going to block this, and then remove 1, to prevent combat damage for this. So even though it's 1/3, it can prevent combat damage. Nice. Right? So end step upkeep, draw. And then we can move to ram again. Yes. Right, so perhaps we can do this. We ram. Alright, we even kick it. So we draw scry 2. We draw a card. And then we can put it on the battlefield. And what's interesting is it just put it on the battlefield. Alright, it's not even tapped. Nice. So we can play additional lands. And then we can perhaps, I guess, also move to combat. So imagine this goes in, and then we might proliferate, and then now this goes up because we have a control power 7 or greater, and then we can draw additional cards. We can use this to store mana as well. Yeah. So imagine now it's an upkeep, we draw 2 cards because of this guy. Alright, we play another weird land, weird of this land. And perhaps we can go to combat and flash in this, which allows me to spawn 1/1 tokens. And then basically right now we are sitting around with a bunch of bot wipes in our hands. So we are in a relatively good position. I guess a bit slow in a way. But overall it's still okay, right? Right. So imagine we were to draw more. We have even more mana here. So go fishing, it feels not bad. Of course the land draw is a bit weak because we kept a weird hand, but it does have the potential. So for me right now, I would say this deck I'm quite happy with this deck. Right, so this is just a playtest. So I can't wait to go down next time and play this deck. But first of all, I have to work on my upgraded Final Fantasy deck. Right, so maybe that's for next time. So yep, so this is me go fishing my Hydra deck. Thereafter I just upgrade them.